Hey guys, welcome back and happy Tuesday. For some reason, I keep thinking it's Wednesday, but it's not. I woke up this morning with such a stomach ache and I couldn't feel or figure out why. A little tidbit. Jason and I have been on this happy hour, ridiculous, out of control roller coaster. And not because we're going out and getting like wasty pants. That's not the case. We just can't cook. Like, you don't want me to cook you a meal unless it's a Tostino's pizza in the microwave. And maybe even then I'll still mess it up. Last night, Jason tried to make steak. It wasn't cute. I feel like he made me sick, but I'm feeling a little bit better now. I'm sure the espressos don't help. But the point is, we're not happy hour junkies. We're just trying to do something better and work from home, but also cook from home and be more domesticated. But it's so hard when, if you go anywhere in Florida, since we are in Florida, happy hours are a dime a dozen. They're so cheap. Jason and I can go out, have a drink if we want one and a couple bites and pay $30. Why wouldn't you go out, especially for our own sanity when we're sitting behind these cameras all day? Now, I didn't mean to go on that rant. What I'm back to talk about is Andy Cohen and this allegedly being fired from CNN's New Year's Eve special. Well, we have details because it seems like the story is changing just a little bit. New reports say Andy Cohen regrets calling out Ryan Seacrest on New Year's Eve. Plus, CNN is now shutting down reports that they're firing Andy over his New Year's Eve rants. All right, let's jump into the details. But before we do, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. With that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys, so it looks like Andy Cohen has only one regret following his drunken antics on New Year's Eve. And it said, as we previously reported, Andy got quite tipsy while hosting CNN's New Year's Eve Live, so much that he called out a competing broadcast. It was Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, hosted by Ryan Seacrest. If you look behind me, you'll see Ryan Seacrest's group of losers performing, he said of Seacrest and ABC's New Year's Eve broadcast. I'm sorry, but if you're watching ABC, you're watching nothing. Now, I'm sure NBC was probably like, yes, Andy, get him, because it's a competing network. But ABC was probably like, who the hell do you think you are? Don't go out here. If you're going to be hosting yours over there, host yours, but don't talk about ours. And to go after Ryan Seacrest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest broadcasters in the world. And not to be, listen, I'm not being shady as hell. I love Andy Cohen. I love Ryan Seacrest. These are two people, Andy Cohen, Ryan Seacrest, and Ellen DeGeneres, actually three people who, ever since I wanted to start doing broadcasting, broadcast journalism, I went to school for it. Those were three people I always looked up to. I always wanted to be the next Ryan Seacrest. From him hosting American Idol, I mean, his $1 million contracts, how much fun he was having. I was so enamored by his life. And then Andy Cohen, bravo. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. And then, of course, Ellen DeGeneres. She was one of those people I always looked up to. And I was like, look at how she's doing it. She's doing the damn thing. Even when she was canceled for being a lesbian, she still came out and had one of the #1 talk shows for the longest time. Now she's in her farewell season, which makes me sad, but okay, moving on. Now, there are a whole list of clips of Andy Cohen's drunken antics, which will follow him around probably for the rest of his life. But nowadays later, Andy admits that he regrets calling out Ryan. So this is what was said. The only thing that I regret saying, the only thing is that I slammed the ABC broadcast. Andy said on Monday's Radio Andy. And I really like Ryan Seacrest. He's a great guy. And I really regret saying that. And I was just stupid and drunk and feeling it. Well, hold on, Andy Cohen, because a lot of us have been stupid and drunk in the past. And sometimes you say, well, what you really mean, how you really feel when you are inebriated. Sometimes you say really stupid shit, but sometimes it's coming from a place of your own truth. So do you actually regret it? Do you regret saying it, but you don't regret meaning it? Or do you regret both? I'm a little confused, but moving on. He said, I was continuing the journey rant and I just kept talking and I shouldn't have. And I felt bad about that. So that is the only thing. Meanwhile, on Monday, reports began to surface that CNN wasn't planning on inviting Andy back to host their New Year's Eve program next year. It was said by a top insider, and we even talked about this story by Radar Online. A top insider reported to Radar Online, "We claim to be the most trusted network in news, and yet CNN hires Andy Cohen to make a fool out of all of us with his New Year's performance." This is what the top insider said, reportedly. Andy doesn't even work for CNN, and yet he has been the face of our network for the past 48 hours. It is embarrassing, and real CNN staffers are very angry. Andy went too far. I think we can agree that it is CNN who looks like the losers, added another top source from CNN. Nothing has been made official yet, but internally, we have been told that Andy will not be invited back next year. Embarrassing himself is one thing, but embarrassing Anderson Cooper is another. It was already known that Anderson doesn't want to host next year's special. He would rather ring in the new year with his son. And without Anderson, thankfully, there will be no Andy Cohen. Now, CNN quickly shut down the reports telling E! News Andy said something he shouldn't have on live TV. We've addressed it with him and look forward to having him back again next year. So, first of all, CNN, if Andy is hosting this gig, and he drinks every year that he hosted. I think that this was his 4th year, maybe, but he drinks every year when he's hosting it. CNN's letting him drink, right? He's going on, he's taking his shots, has little shot skis, doing his thing. What do you expect? Like, that's why you should have a no drinking policy at work. And, you know, should you be a little bit more in control when you're hosting a live event? Yeah, but for him, he probably feels like, oh, this is playtime. I'm not on NBC, I'm on CNN. It's not my home network. I can do and say whatever I want. This is an easy way for me to make 6 figures, jump on and be like, "Wow, I'm Drunk Andy on Radio Andy SXM," or whatever it is. You know, I can see where he wouldn't take it as serious because it seems like more of a fun, festive, lighthearted filming situation. But guys, I want to know what you think, especially because Radar was the one who, well, they were the ones who reported that Andy Cohen would be fired in the first place, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So now that CNN has come back and told E! News that Andy, his comments have been addressed, they talked to him about it and said it's not appropriate, but they are more than happy to bring him back next year. I was reading some tweets where people were like, "You're going to let this man get away with anything." I'm like, well, is it really that bad? But I want to know your thoughts. I don't want to just give you my opinions and give you this information and not ask what you think. So go ahead, comment below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Also, guys, tonight we will be going live. And when I say we, I mean Jason on Down with Jason with See Josh Go, his comedian friend, for Anchor Watch at 11 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be a breakdown of Below Deck's recent episode. They always have so much fun. I'll be in the live chat, so hopefully you guys join me. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye, guys. Love you.